All right, I'm
Sure. So I always knew that I wanted to pursue a career in the arts, but I didn't know the direction. Even in fact, one of my earliest memories is making art. I remember as a preschool student, we worked with like styrofoam meat trays and popcorn, and I distinctly remember taking the popped popcorn and dipping it into like the tempera glue paint and dabbing it onto the styrofoam meat tray. That's one of my earliest memories. And so I knew from a really early age just the power of the arts and creativity. And I think even in sixth grade, my sixth grade yearbook said that I wanted to be an art teacher. So I knew I wanted to pursue arts. And as an undergrad, I studied art therapy. With an undergraduate degree in art therapy, I was able to study art history, take studio arts classes, art therapy classes, psychology, because I was still finding my way. I wasn't sure if I, wanted to be an art educator at that point, or be an art therapist, or be a starving artist. So it was a really exploratory degree. And then during one of the summers of college, I interned at a living history museum. It was a Pennsylvania German in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And, I wore the bonnet, the skirt. I cooked over open hearth.
Do we have pictures of that?
I threw pots on a treadle wheel, a potter's wheel that you control with your foot. I spun wool and wove on a loom, and ran their summer camp. And that's really what opened up for me then. It's like, I want to be a museum educator. I want to work with audience and tell the stories of objects and artifacts and the people in history. And I've been in museum education ever since, and working for a variety of museums. I started out, I lived in Pittsburgh for several years, so I worked for Children's Museum Pittsburgh. I volunteered at the Carnegie, worked at the Science Center, volunteered at the Phillips, and then I did a term of AmeriCorps as well. I worked in after-school programs, tutoring second graders, and so I just fell in love with museums and just absorbed them, and absorbed working with them, and then got my graduate degree in museum education. So and I just celebrated 4 years at the Freer and Sackler's National Museum of Asian Art. So
I love it. I love it. You are such a true testament to really the core of yoga, because you are living your dharma. To hear this story of this adorable little 3-year-old making art, knowing at that moment that art was going to be part of your life, and that creating and learning and exploring with curiosity through your whole life can be your job. Is really, really cool. So I love that you are living your dharma. You're a really great role model for all of us. It's really beautiful.
Now, we got to know Jenn because you guys did a conference together, right? So Lisa, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, Jenn and I both were representing our companies and ourselves at an event as members of the DC Arts and Humanities Collaborative. And we were there to help teachers know about our programs and to meet the teachers in the DC public schools. And the entire time, Jenn and I were kind of across the room from each other. We both wanted to be at each other's tables and play and learn and work together, even that moment. And so, you know, we at the end of the event, we both said, we're going to work together someday. And we didn't know any more than that. And so, and out of that came this really lovely program that we're doing now together, Artful Movement. And Jenn, I would love for you to tell the story of sort of how this Artful Movement program came to be and how it evolved kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah. So I think it took, you know, almost maybe 2 years. And so I figured out how I could work with Create Calm and Lisa. We had an exhibition called Encountering the Buddha, Art and Practice Across Asia. And we had funding through that exhibition to support K through 12 programs. And I said, this is it. This is where we can get that connection. And so we were, you know, going to launch last October in the galleries, was the plan, of course. So original plan was it was going to be a 2-hour field trip experience where students would come in, they would practice yoga and meditation, and then visit our galleries with docents where they would learn about the story of the Buddha and his enlightenment through meditation. And so that students would be able to experience the meditation and what that felt like in their bodies, and then see an image of the Buddha and learn about his story of meditation. And so that was the plan. And of course, like everyone, we had to really re-envision the program for virtual learning. And for me, it started with looking at Create Calm's YouTube channel and looking at the instructors and hearing about you know, this approach of weaving story and movement together. And one of the videos that was offered on the website was called Weathering the Storm. And that's what really inspired me. Because I'm like, that's what we're all doing right now. We are weathering the storm together, and knowing that it, you know, we don't know, but we know that, you know, bright sunny days will be ahead, and we just have to work through our emotions right now. And so for me, that story and that movement, you know, I found a work of art to accompany it, and it was Hokusai's painting of the thunder god, which in the Shinto religion, it's believed the thunder god, you know, beats a drum, the Taiko Japanese drum, on his back to make the thunder and to make the lightning. So it's this painting that, you know, has a really stormy background, and you know, this creature that with this, you know, red skin that's all bumpy and scaly looking, but this creature has this, you know, smile on his face. And so it's just like this really fun painting to interpret and to look at, and it accompanied the story of weathering the storm really well. So, you know, that disruption of this year, where we had to move from in gallery to virtual, really changed the dynamic of the program. And I think it changed it for the better and made it stronger, because originally it was going to be about the story of the Buddha and our art to accompany it. And when we made that change, it became about it became more student-centered. The students instead were learning to label their emotions and learning to think about themselves as resilient and connected to their inner knowing and connected to others.
Yeah, it was really wonderful to build in that social emotional
Yes.
learning piece, and at the same time enhance proprioception and their own sense of their being, and to give some tools for communication, and to be able to bring it all on a virtual platform and still feel that connection and still feel that the learning was happening was really, really incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to watch a few, and they were really, I was amazed at how connected the kids were and how they got so into it, and then how they built automatically their affirmations so easily. And they started really, like, they felt like the thunder god, and they, the building of the connecting that work of art and the yoga was a perfect connection, and it really paid off, I think, in a lot of ways. And we're going to continue doing this with classrooms this spring, right? We've got a few more dates. Yeah. So I want to hear more about your next big thing, which is your conference that you're going to do together. So Jenn, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I knew I wanted to tell more people about Artful Movement, and a silver lining of the pandemic is that conferences are going virtual, so it's much easier to manage the logistics of conferences and to afford them as well. So I found this opportunity through the Museum Education Roundtable. They have several branches across the nation and different metropolitan hubs, and they have a hub in New York City. And they do hold an annual conference, and I've heard good things about it, but never attended. And I saw that they were looking for proposals this past January, and they had a little message board where if folks had ideas but didn't know how to connect to others, this was the opportunity to share their conference ideas. And someone had posted, is anyone interested in museum wellness programs and yoga in museums? I've been doing this workout in Seattle. Would anyone be interested in partnering? And so I asked Lisa, do you want, is it okay if I reached out to, this person and see, if we have a connection here?
Always, by the way. She will partner with anyone.
And so, yeah, the three of us worked together on a conference proposal, and we just learned last week that we were accepted. So we are presenting in May for the New York City Museum Education Roundtable Conference.
I think that's super exciting, and I'm particularly excited because then you can spread the word, and it can happen in other places in the country, and you can start something really big here.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. So let me see what else I have here. Lisa, do you have any other questions that you want to ask Ms. Jenn?
I of course have one more question. I'm trying to behave. I'm trying to keep us on track here, but I would love to hear, Jenn, if you have a favorite teaching moment or takeaway from our Artful Movement program, that you wanted to share with folks so that they have a better sense of sort of what the experience was.
Yeah, and I think, to build on what you were saying earlier, Lisa, was this this concept of connection, right, which comes back to yoga. And I think that was, our initial fear was, oh, we're going virtual, and are we going to make a connection? Our students, are they going to get it? Are they going to do the yoga? Or and what we learned right away from students they were able to connect with themselves and with each other virtually in a 45-minute presentation. And so it just went above and beyond our expectations too. We we invited students to complete surveys and invited teachers to complete surveys of the program. And we got incredible feedback. We had students saying that the program made them feel calm and happy and excited. And we even had a fourth grader said that that they felt a sense of integrity. And that word really surprised me. I just was, for a student, a fourth grader, to have the agency to feel a sense of integrity from a virtual program was just so amazing to hear. To know that, we had that kind of impact.
Yeah, in 45 to 50 minutes, right? In less than an hour, in one exposure.
Yes.
Child was able to feel that kind of a connection to themselves, that they felt they could call it integrity.
Yes.
And what talk about building resilience, what a powerful word. I think, it's just, I like you, I think that's my biggest takeaway, is this profound sense of connection that students have had with themselves. The one child who said he had no idea other people out there cared. And, that there was this community of people that were unconditional and that were there even when he didn't know, and helped him to feel so empowered himself. And, to think that we're able to do this work, it goes back to the original mission, slightly altered. Instead of learning about the Buddha, in some ways we're learning to be the Buddha. And that's been really, really super special. And I know for you, it inspired one other step, and that is that you just finished your Radiant Child yoga training to be a children's yoga teacher yourself. So that's really exciting too.
Yeah, I'm working through my training. I have another one this weekend. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being with us today. We really appreciate you, Jenn. We're so happy to partner with you, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do next year, you guys.
Jen,
really
is there, I am excited too. Is there some place where people can find out more about what you're doing at the museum or elsewhere?
Yeah, you can visit our website, asia.si.edu. And if you check out our events calendar, we are celebrating Persian New Year coming up. So so you can celebrate spring with some virtual events. And almost daily, we offer meditation sessions at lunchtime. So you can check out our schedule, and all our programs free. So please come visit virtually.
I know a lot of my adult yoga students take the meditation, and on Friday, I think there's meditation with art that they're just loving. So, so folks, go check it out, and keep an eye on the Create Calm page for more info about our partnership with Jenn and all of the work that we're doing together. Jenn, thank you again. And Jean, thank you for helping to host and asking such great questions. This has been so much fun for us.
Awesome. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you.
See you next time.